And as how Napoleon Bonaparte said, the leader is a dealer in hope. Welcome to Leaders of Future. Welcome, Rahul.
And thank you so very much.
How do you think in hospitality industry when you are heading? Do you manage people or do you understand people, and where is this merged together?
I can speak for my industry that the way we adapt to anything new is wonderful. And I think it's a matter of also how you manage your leadership style, like the situational leadership style. I, as a leader, and a lot of my peers have the same challenge, as you said, different generation. So why in my leadership I have a different generation. In my mid-management I have a different generation. To bridge the gap between them requires a lot of interesting understanding.
So welcome to today's podcast on Leaders of Future. And today I have a very important guest with me. We all go for vacation. We look for good hospitality. And hospitality needs a wonderful leaders. And in this podcast on Leaders of Future, we're going to talk about how the hospitality industry manages a leader and leaders which goes to the future. So today, without wasting too much of time, I'm going to start with my today's guest, Mr. Rahul Joshi, who is the General Manager of Taj at Dwarka, New Delhi. Welcome, Rahul, to today's podcast on Leaders of Future. Thanks for joining in today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Manish. Thank you so very much for making me part of this great initiative.
Rahul, you started your journey from a very small town in Himachal Pradesh. There's an interesting data which says that 70% of the people from hospitality industry come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. You have also come from a smaller town. What was your inspiration to join an hotel industry?
When I was living in a small town, I did not realize it back then that there is a stream of professional hospitality that exists. Hospitality to me, fortunately, I should say, happened by accident, and I found myself immediately at ease.
Deloitte shared that 90% of guests who stays in a hotel and are likely to come back because of the warmth and empathy of the staff. They are most likely they will come back. And that's the reason probably the empathy is one of the most important aspect or a value for a hotelier to consider. And Taj is an epitome of the service to maintain that standard of empathy and service. Isn't that an additional load on your shoulders?
I'm humbled by what you said just now. And at ICL, we call it Tajness. And Tajness is something which is driven by our core values of the Taj, which is trust, awareness, and joy. We spend a lot of time in understanding and making everybody in our team understand what our values are and how to lead with those values. Once you have a clear understanding of those values, which is the most important part of our training programs, everything else falls in place much easier. As you said, empathy is a word which is used very often and at times in much lighter ways. But in my personal experience, what I've understood is that empathy is to really understand somebody without judging somebody. It does not matter why somebody is expecting or aspiring to be at a particular place. Once we get that, then things are much easily understood, and it's much easier for us to deliver the expectations of our guests.
Its research also shows that there is a lot of burnout happens if your internal and external self is not aligned. If you are projecting something but you are going through something else, how do you manage with the people?
I think Manish is just not about an individual here, and that's what the great organizations do to you. We hardly believe or exhibit the smiles which are not very full. And meaningful smiles come from honesty. An individual who's serving the guests, they've got to be happy and ready to deliver the service from within. And that is what we believe. So coming in from the, as we call it, the heart of the house, where the actual the drama takes place, getting ready to come in the forefront is very, very crucial. And yes, at times there are conflict. Let me give you a story from not this, but when you were much younger. There was a colleague of ours, and he used to be at the front desk those days. And front desk used to be very busy then, and they're busy now. You have a lot of guests checking in, and they're all wanting to get their in as quickly as possible. This gentleman, and those were the days of the pen and the papers and stuff, and he would keep the documents in front of the guests, walk into the back office, and would sing and dance in those 30 seconds and make everybody happy and go back and start taking turns. And this is where the combination of what you're doing in the heart of the house, in front of the house, and it's a great example which I still give and I still live, that you've got to be happy and content in doing what you're doing, and you've got to have that moment of joy when you're in front of the guest. Of course, you cannot dance because it's just end of the day, a formal interaction. But deep inside, you can dance, and going back to the heart of the house, you can still dance. I come back. If we can achieve that in every moment, and that's the end of it. People have to be joyful. People have to be really ready to deliver. And then that smile is not really an effort.
What's your personal practice to maintain that authenticity within your own self?
To live my values and to be honest and understanding of all our stakeholders, be it our internal person or external person. I would always like to be in a position where I treat everybody equally. So the same smile that I'm probably supporting when I'm receiving a dignitary at the lobbies or receiving a celebrity in the lobby, I would want to receive my associates with the same smile.
We see in multiple other organizations that there are 4 generations merging together. And Gen Zs are very different as compared to their technological knowledge, their attitude, their behavior. And it's getting a workplace where 4 generations are working together. Do you find any challenge? And what are the opportunities you see between this?
This diversity today, I think, is a boon. What they bring onto the table, Gen Zs, we call them now the Gen Alpha. What they bring on the table is very different from how we do. But if you understand what they are trying to say and take into consideration your experience with what they are bringing on the table, what you deliver is something which is fantastic. And we need to understand that. What you're saying is right. The leadership today belongs to a different era and a different generation, and the mindsets are very different. But we also need to understand that our guests are also as diverse as our team here. And if we have to serve that generation which is walking into the doors of our hotels, we also need to manage ourselves and create our service deliveries according to what the expectations are. And that can only happen when we have a buy-in. Ours is an industry which always stay young. And I see it in my industry that, more and more leaders are adapting to this aspect. That yes, we know what we know, but the next generation is also able to do something. I mean, every generation you have champions. In every generation there is something new which has come about. Those are the days when we used to hear from the generation prior to us that, we have achieved great stuff, and this generation we don't have high hopes from. I think from that narrative, it is changing now to a narrative that the next generation is going to be better.
And as how Napoleon Bonaparte said, the leader is a dealer in hope. How do you think in hospitality industry when you are heading? Do you manage people or do you understand people, and where is this merged together?
I can speak for my industry that the way we adapt to anything new is wonderful. And I think it's a matter of also how you manage your leadership style, like the situational leadership style. I, as a leader, and a lot of my peers have the same challenge, as you said, different generations. So why in my leadership team I have a different generation. In my mid-management I have a different generation. To bridge the gap between them requires a lot of interesting understanding.
From human touch, we're moving to digital touch. Everything is digital touch. Do you think with the 5.8 trillion possible economy size of hospitality industry growing to, where the human touch will stop and where the digital touch will play?
Technology would always remain a support system. One of my great learnings, and I was taught this by a professor who happened to be my guest, we got to discuss one particular aspect of his experience at the time of checkout. A very senior learned professor. I was trying to give him the reasons why we do what we are doing. He heard me completely. And in the end, he said one thing. He said, Rahul, what you explained to me is why you are doing this. And all that is for your convenience. Where is my convenience? I'm your guest. This is what I want. Deliver. He said a great thing. Whatever I do today, whatever I'm trying to deliver, the orientation has to be from the guest perspective. Whether it is technology or it is skill or it is anything that I'm trying to exhibit or present, has to be thought of, especially the expectation of my guest. Now, how I want to deliver it with the help of the technology is where my role comes. On the forefront, in the real term of the hospitality, I think human touch will always remain. End of the day, you won't want to interact with somebody.
Mindfulness and emotional intelligence and critical thinking are one of the topmost skills. And as in our own survey done by Mindful Science Center at Mindfulness India Summit, we found that 30 to 45% of internal promotions take place of the leaders who are emotionally intelligent, they are mindful leaders, they grow faster than the task managed leaders or task oriented leaders who want to get the task done. What's your vision in skilling the newer generation in the hospitality training or upskilling in training? How can you include mindfulness and emotional intelligence kind of skills that improve their creative thinking, their behavioral thinking, and also emotional regulation and management?
In our research, what we've seen is that if they don't see their supervisors enjoying, they don't enjoy it. So when we say that they are always technologically driven, they also have something which is so emotionally driven, and they're so aware. Within that diversity, they also want to see equality.
So, what do you think in organizations? Awareness, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, mindfulness. These are the trainings are not a part of the general training. We do a lot of skill training. Do you think organizations should have a certain stream of building this skill set so that they can be more creatively thinking, they are more connected to the teams, they can understand their emotions and others' emotions, they have a compassion for self and others both?
My challenge today is to take my team members out to give them the technical training. Because I really have to pull them out of the operations. The other spheres that you just spoke about, they cannot be imparted on the job. They can be implemented on the job. They cannot be imparted. They can't be discussed while you are at the front desk or serving a cup of tea or coffee at the restaurant. Very difficult to impart those skills. Those can be done only
In offsite or on a specific training.
We have that emphasis on these trainings, and I would bring about our values again, which is first is trust and second is awareness and third is joy. So awareness, when we talk about it, may be a very simple word, but it means the world to us.
There is certain Indian touch, Atithi Devo Bhav kind of thing. We feel whenever we enter Taj, we always feel very Indianness, and that is very well accepted internationally. Now, as the world grows in the future of hospitality, how do you see hospitality industry? 5 years, then 10 years, and then 15 years.
The next 5 years is going to be completely experiences based. Personalization, hyper personalization, experiences. And with that, and probably in less than 5 years, the next thing which is really becoming important is the diversity. And going beyond is going to be sustainability.
What would be a word of advice, the wisdom from a wizard like you, who have seen this industry from a nascent stage to growing to this level and entering into a new era?
I'll probably take more than 1 year. And I think the answer is in what you said just now. Think. So I think for any youngster to think and realize what they want is very important. I would not go beyond my industry. I would remain within my industry. We have very specific, specialized fields. And once you really think on where you fit in, and then you take that path. And when I look at the younger generation today, I really get some energy from them. And what is happening today in our industry with the growth that we just spoke about, they have a huge, huge future. It's just the right time probably to join the industry. They need to be very clear in their mind what they want. And then comes the next question. How? I think once they're clear in their mind, they don't need really anything else. They are much more capable of managing their careers and they have today all the tools and the support from the industry. Stay true to yourself.
I have some surprise questions for you. One habit from your college days who you secretly still doing it and it's have not gone away.
Discipline.
One value that you have learned in Nahan which left strong influence on you.
Joy.
The one tradition at Vivanta that you cherish most.
Vibration for this generation.
One hardship lesson that you have learned.
There's been no hardships in which I've lived my hospitality life. It's utmost content and joyfulness.
What's your recharge ritual? Tea in a lobby with a guest or a mindful walk through the hotel corridors?
Mindful walk from the lobby to the corridors.
One hospitality icon you secretly admire.
Managing Director and CEO of ICR today, Mr. Puneet Chitwal.
One skill you believe every hotelier must have.
What interest you must have for yourself, and you must follow it to the T.
Early bird or night owl?
I aspire to be an early bird.
If your leadership style have been a Bollywood character, who would you be and why?
Shah Rukh Khan.
Thank you so much and wish you all the best, and you keep cherishing and creating such properties that give delight to the guest and the people who work under you. Thank you so much. Had a wonderful talk with you today.
Thank you, Manish.